Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome aboard. Morning to the nighttime show. Oh, the spooky theater. Well, you don't really need to go see horror shows. Your life is a big enough one of those. So let's hear last night. There was the people I'm staying with. They finally came home, and I've had this place to myself for the last month and a couple weeks, and it's been very nice. But now there are 6 people, and I'm a really good cook, and they go and buy bags and bags and bags of Fritos, and cheese loops, and ramen noodles, and I have this really nice spinach, broccoli, onion soup, right? Let's see, with Parmesan cheese on top, and I melted, some mozzarella, so it's unbelievable, yummy onion soup. And they say, "Oh, vegetables, they can't eat those." Anyway, and 2 of them are these 2 youngsters, in their 20s, who nearly killed each other yesterday, and it basically stemmed from both of them being ridiculously, individually selfish. It's all about me. Everything's about me. It's all about me. I hate that other guy. But they're right now, in the living room having sex, and grandma's like watching TV, doing, not caring a hoot about grandma or the other people who live in the house. And I cleaned the house up really nice before they came back, and they noticed that. But within, an hour, the Romeo and Juliet sociopaths, and that, the Shakespeare Romeo and Juliet, that was about a sociopathic family, and these tropes just go on through history. It's nothing new. What we're seeing in front of us is nothing new. The real challenge is the amazing opportunity for folk to be all they can be, And are you ready to be that? And most people aren't. They're still complaining about what happened to them in 5th grade. I mean, I got murdered by a nun in the 1st grade. She broke my jaw. They had to wire my mouth. My jaw was wired for 6 months. She crushed my esophagus, so I could barely breathe for about 4 years. She, just dented my head. I used to have to wear this specially made helmet that they would adjust so my head would come out, normal. And this eye was covered in a patch for a year because she broke the orbit of my eye and really, squished my eye in ways it wasn't meant to. Luckily it didn't bust like a grape. And she broke the little bones in this ear. So all of that, I could go on and on and on. Oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. But no, basically, this eye can see auras. No, I can see what people are feeling. Most people can't do that. This year, the way it is, I have this most amazing Doppler sounding. I can tell where you are in a dark room, And because of my jaw being wired and my esophagus being crushed, I didn't really speak for 2.5 years. And then when I started to speak, I had a stutter because I couldn't get enough air through my vocal cords. So I had to retrain myself how to speak, which was good because, for 2 years, I didn't speak at all, and all I did was listen. So I became an amazing listener. And I was through that was able to be empathetic. Through that was able to get people to speak to me about things they'd never speak to anybody else about, which then made me a good shrink, and then b a good negotiator. Right. Oh, so my abilities as a shamanic, psychosocial, cultural, forensic, anthropologic alchemist is what I am. I've been made this, right? And I have been schooled through many, 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 many schools. I've been in many mystery schools. And up until I was 32, I had access to all of this esoteric and occult education. And those aren't devil worship. No, they are strictly hidden knowledge, mystery schools, right? And no matter what school I was in, I was always in the mystery department. And and people always had agendas for me. We're going to make him into this, rocket scientist for the Pope, secret agent, you name it. And again, I was all in for the education, but when it came time to draft me for service, I'd say, sorry, not going to do that. What? Why can you not do that? Yeah. It's like, when I worked 10 years in the corporate world for desperate lawyers, um, I basically died. I kept pushing that envelope. But before that, when I worked for Shrinks, I worked developing protocols for research, psychological programs, right? And out of that, I got a lot of schooling out of that because it was done at universities, and a lot of the programs that I ended up administering because I built the protocols. The head people would say, well, we're coming to the point where we're going to go for our second big chop of money, and you're running this thing, and you need to have a better degree. So here's one. So they just handed to me. I mean, I didn't matriculate through it, but I got more degrees than a thermometer that way. And hey, I was going to turn them down. It's like when I was head of the Newark College of Engineering. It was a state university in Newark, right on College Avenue, right across from Newark High School and the college down there. It'll come to my mind. But anyway, it was an engineering school, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, not theater, but because it was a state school somewhere in the legislature, the best moneyed politicians can buy, they were bought off to build, graft to build, and they built a beautiful theater. I mean, gorgeous. George and George, who I worked for, did a great job, and that was one of the ways I got that job. Between Lester Pavlikov and George, I got this job because they offered it to Lester, and he was like in his 90s, and he was already being the head designer for the Boston Opera and Lincoln Center, and about 5 Broadway shows, and he was like, no, I'm too, no. But this kid over here, this is my best boy. He would be great for that job. That's how I got the job. And George and George built it, and I was their electrician, and they put in their 2 cents. So I got the job. So I'm waiting on mine, and, I'm a professor, right? And I have my little contract in my hand, and the kid who's making out the, whatchamacallits, IDs, right? A Polaroid ID machine. And he, this is before digital, and he, has a list of names, and he's calling them off, and he calls mine up. And so everybody else who's been waiting on mine, they're all professors and doctors. Doctor, professor, double doctor, right? So the guy who was before me made the kid put in professor, double doctor, blah, 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 right? And so the kid just put my name in there and took the picture, and the ID, it was like looked just like a driver's license, had the New Jersey State logo right on it, and it said, Director, Newark College of Engineering Theater Department, double Professor, double Doctor Al Bob, and did I tell him, oh, no, I'm not a doctor. No, double doctor, that's me. I used to be known as Double D. That was my preference, but that was, Professor, double doctor, Al Bob, So if people want to call me something of that note, I have no problem with that. But I do not lie, you know. I don't spill the beans, but I do not lie, right? I'll easily take the Fifth Amendment, but I do not lie, right? And so that's, kind of what got in the way of me being a secret agent man, because I don't lie. Sorry, don't lie, right? And when you are that kind of honest, that goes a lot further than almost anything else, right? So anyway, there's one of you there. Anybody for comments on not lying, being who you are, stepping up to, like last night's adventure of these two, as I said, psychopathic Romeo and Juliet, and they were about to kill each other. And now they're like cooing like lovebirds on the couch, having sex in front of grandma, and that's it. They don't think of any but themselves. I had cleaned the kitchen up really nice and made everyone a beautiful dinner. And, everyone much rather have Taco Bell. Grandma went out for Taco Bell for everyone. And it's like, and they had this thing, one of the other people who live here, in the freezer, they had these, like TV dinners, but I looked at them and all it was this meat sludge and potato sludge. And you just put it on a plastic tray and you put it in the microwave. And then you have a meat flavored sludge that you can mush with the, mashed potatoes that are they're more like plastic bags chopped up. And everyone had a choice between Taco Bell, the meat sludge, and my beautiful fresh onion, fresh spinach, garlic, carrots soup, which was amazing. Came out really nice. And I gave, here, you want to try some? No, vegetables. I don't like vegetables. Okay. Yeah. And then I had this other like stuffing that I made from scratch, from bread I made. And I had a loaf of, sourdough bread I made. And the guy who went and got the Taco Bell, went to the supermarket and bought like 20 gallons of crappy frying oil, Wonder Bread, 10 raw man things you boil up and eat a soup. I mean, they're okay. I eat them, but not as a staple. And a box of, 20 cheese doodles. And they spent $50 on that. It's like, I looked at, and so I was cleaning up the receipt was in the bag. $50. It was like, because they bought it at this place on the side of the highway that has a Taco Bell and a convenience store. So all that stuff they bought was the convenient food, 4 times the expense of going to a supermarket and 8 times more than Walmart's. So anyway, I've known this family a long time, and there are a number of people who I care about in this family, and so I'm always there to help them, and they appreciate that. But so the ladies, when I said to my friend, I said, "So you want some of the soup?" And I had fried her up some shrimp, and she liked those. But she goes, Al, not everyone likes the food you make. And I was like, gee, thanks. I mean, I used to have, big, fancy restaurants that I owned that I cooked in, and those people seem to like that food and would pay lots of money for it. But there is, when people are addicted to the meat sludge, you know, um, sycophant mashed potatoes, you know, that's it. So anyway, it was nice being here by myself for a month and a half, and and the dog looked prolonged. When I went out to play with him today, he looked at me like, "Oh, the good times are going to end. You're going to go away, and then I'm going to be stuck with these people. I'll have to go back to being a stupid dog instead of your buddy." So anyway, no comments. Nobody wants to say anything. Because last night's live chat, well, I guess part of it because I sat down with the sociopath Juliet, and there were no lights on, so we just talked, and that was part of that. That was kind of interesting. And then I went back on, and people came on and commented on that, and we had a nice chat. It was a nice chat, and anyway. And so when I signed off of the live chat last night, it said 60 people watched, and they watched for 18 hours. And then when I went back, once it got posted, it said, 8 people watched, 3 people liked, and so as my friends in foreign lands say, I'm doing something right. So no one's there. No one wants to say anything. No one wants to. No? Okay. I guess we'll just go. What time is it? 10:33. Oh, I got a good night's sleep. See you later. See you tomorrow. Maybe I'll jump back on later. Okay. Oh, yeah. Don't believe a word I say, right? And if you want to get a hold of me, it's the dudeawake42@gmail. And you want to throw something in PayPal, I would truly appreciate that. Because it's coming on to Christmas, and I have about $32 to my name till mid next month. So, okay. Because I've been gifting everyone around me. I've been mostly fixing things for them, but they don't even have the money to buy the parts, so I go up and do that. So, but I like doing that.